5 seconds. Sir, last one which the finance minister has indicated in his budget speech. And coming to the finance bill, I would like to make some preliminary remarks. The previous speaker, the honorable member, compared India's performance with the performance of some other countries. We are accustomed to it. Whenever members of the Treasury benches speak, they compare India's performance with that of Pakistan, Ghana, Nigeria, and so on. I think it is most irrelevant. India cannot be compared with Ghana or even with Pakistan. India's industrial base, its resources, are not comparable to any of these countries. Even such comparison is done on a very convenient basis. Even if you compare India with those countries, you will find, for example, the percentage of literacy in Ghana and in some of the African countries quite different. The literacy is much more there than in India, but no one from the Treasury benches points it out. As regards per capita income in Ceylon, which is a much smaller country than India, is higher than in India. If you compare them in totality, not only in respect of inflation or some other aspects of economy. Anyway, if at all India is to be compared, India should be compared with China. But nobody is comparing India with China. China is referred to only in respect of productivity, otherwise, nobody refers to the development in China. While discussing the finance bill, I would like to make a little reference to the original budget because the finance bill is meant to give effect to the financial proposals contained in the budget for the year 1998-99. It is the general thinking of the people, and it is also an accepted theory that the budget of the government reflects the economic policy of the government. It indicates the path in which the ruling party wants to lead the country so far as the economy is concerned, so far as agricultural production is concerned. Now, even this annual budgetary exercise has become somewhat superfluous because many more things come before the budget and after the budget which vitiate the effect of the actual annual budgetary proposals. This year, before the budget was presented to Parliament, the government came out with proposals for hikes in administered prices, and it amounted to more than 3,000 crores of rupees. Now, after that, the budget was presented, and now we are discussing the finance bill. The whole thing is to be repeated. It is quite possible that after the parliament session is over, the government will again come out with proposals for hikes in administered prices for 1,000 or 2,000 crores. So the annual budgetary exercise for the last few years has become an exercise which does not reflect the reality, which does not reflect the actual economic policy of the government. Sir, while in the budget the government came out with a huge deficit of rupees 7,000 crores or so, at that time all of us predicted and all of us apprehended that there would be a double-digit inflation. Now, from the various publications of the government, we find that presently the wholesale price index has gone up by 10 points. Now, what is the effect of this 10-point rise? It does not reflect the actual prices because the manner in which the index figures are compiled is not quite correct, and we have raised objections several times. Its reflection on the consumer price index is more distorted because of the way in which the data are collected and compiled. Now I want to deal with another point about the price rise and inflation. The earlier speaker compared with other countries, but I feel that even this 10-point rise in the wholesale price index would be much more, and its effect on the consumer price index would be much more. What I want to bring to your notice is that whatever figures the government dishes out to us, I am not in a position to believe in those figures. It is because of the fact that the manner in which they are collected and compiled gives a distortion. That is my point. Even this increase by 10 points or 9 points or 10.4 points would have been more had there been much more consumption by the people. What is the purchasing power of the people? All the people have not got the purchasing power. Under consumption of the rural masses, under consumption even of the city poor, have helped the government in maintaining the so-called 10-point rise. Had there been more consumption by the masses, the inflation rate would have been much more. That is my point. So, the government is benefited by this underconsumption and lack of purchasing power of the poor masses both in rural areas and the city areas. This is one of the